Built-in drag brake, anybody? What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode with Alberta RC Street Outlaws. Today, I think we're gonna talk about maintenance. I know not everybody likes to do it, but just because it looks good doesn't mean it is good. Alright, first on the list, we're going to talk about bearings, because nothing is better than a fresh set of bearings that roll real nice and have no binding. If you're looking for a good set of bearings, look no further than Speed Secrets bearings. I'm not sponsored by them, I just believe in their product, and they have probably the best bearings I've ever used in my life. So, try once. They are a little bit expensive, but if you take care of them, you'll never have to get another set. Weighing in at $49.95, you can pick yourself up a full set of RC Speed Secrets wheel bearings right off their website. For us Canadians, after conversion rate and also the shipping and all that good stuff, you're probably looking at close to $100, but at the end of the day, it's $100 well spent. But you're probably thinking, well, Lloyd, that's for a brand new set of bearings. What about maintaining the ones that we already have? Well, that brings me into the next topic. So at RC Speed Secrets, get yourself a set of their oil. Absolutely fantastic. A dab will do you, trust me. I'll show you right now of putting it into the wheel bearing. Alright, here's one of the bearings that I pulled out of my rear C-hub. Let's see if I can get it to focus here. Don't be like this. There we go. So you can see there's a bunch of crud and stuff on the outside of the bearing. So what I usually do for that is I'll take my brake clean. Just any old brake clean will do. And give it a good shot of it. Clean it all up. Then I'll run it. Try to get some of the stuff out. And once I think that it's nice and clean, spins nice and true, I'll take my rag, I'll dry it off. Just blow into her a little bit, make sure that you get all the brake clean out. Then make sure you put the applicator on. And just a couple dabs all the way around. And yeah, so once you think you got enough of the bearing oil in there, it's pretty thin, so it will go right through the cracks of the dust shield. Just give her a bunch of spins, and then you'll know right away whether or not you need some more or not, because if you don't, it'll spin for nice and smooth for a little bit. So after that, we can put her back inside the vehicle. Let's talk about shocks. You always want to make sure they're not leaking. You can get to a race that could have been fine, and all of a sudden they're not fine, and your car is going all over the place. Well, there's a couple things you got to think about when you're looking at your shocks and you notice that they're leaking. Question one was, why are they leaking? Well, where I live, I'm 3,500 feet above sea level. So it doesn't matter if you're going an hour away or a couple thousand miles away. You know your ears pop when you're going through valleys or going up hills. Now think about what these shocks are doing. So they're going to be building pressure inside the casings here, and they're going to blow out in the bottom. Or your seals could be worn out. So when I'm building my shocks, Team Associated has awesome product, Green Goop, and I put them on all my seals when I'm building the shocks, and it prevents leaks for the most part. You always want to make sure you're checking the oil in your shocks. Bleed them, especially when you're going long distance other places, because you don't want differential between all your shocks, because you're not going to have a very good consistent launch or even stability on the track. Most of your standard shocks come with a bleeder, but Team Associated, J Concepts, they all make aftermarket caps with bleeders on them. So with a properly built and ready shock, that's just one less thing you have to be trying to diagnose when you're doing your very limited test runs at the race, getting ready for the actual race. And while we're on the topic of suspension, don't forget about your hinge pins. You want your control arms to move up and down freely. You don't want any kind of binding whatsoever, or else that's just going to plague you real bad on the track. It only takes a couple seconds. Pop your shocks off and then make sure that you got free movement, because when you're taking off, you don't want one wheel hitting the ground in the front and not the other, or one suspension arm in the back wanting to stay in a certain position while the other one's moving when you're taking off, because you're just going to be shooting your car left, right, all over the place, and you'll be trying to turn the adjustment knobs on your shocks, trying to counter the problem, but you don't want to do that. So take the time, go over the control arms, make sure everything is nice and smooth there. If you are encountering a not free control arm, there's a couple things you can do. You can find the drill bit same size as your pin. You can run it through the control arm, put it back on, make sure it's moving nicely. The other thing to look at is make sure your pin's not actually bent from a previous accident, and if it is, replace that immediately. And the other thing that you want to look at is actually the shims on the back of the control arm, because if you don't know if you can see here, it's getting late, but you got shims. You can move the control arm forward, backwards for your caster, or even your wheelbase in that matter. If those are too tight, that's going to cause your control arms to bind up as well. So just take care of that, and yeah, you should be good. And while I was tearing the car down and doing some maintenance, I took the motor out and tried to spin the back wheels freely, and lo and behold, they wouldn't even do a quarter rotation. Wasn't sure if I bound up some bearings or if it was some gears, but this is what I found.
Hello, mother. Jesus Christ.
So yeah, nothing's going to send your ass packing faster than popping your ESC because your car's stuck to the starting line, or you have a million weight stiff fluid sticking your gears together inside the transmission. Thankfully I didn't pop any ESCs or motors because of the transmission, but the car was running pretty consistent all night during the races, didn't have any problems. But the last race of the night that took me out, as soon as I hit that trigger, it felt like something was holding me back for sure. And I know it wasn't the tire prep, because it was a pretty slippery surface the whole night. But I'll show you some clips and you can see it for yourself. So in the last clip you can see how it kind of went, stopped, and went again. If you look real close you can notice it. Definitely was able to feel it. It was a good race. At the end I lost, but make sure you guys check your shit. Don't be lazy. You want your car to be running top notch 100% every single time it goes down the track. I didn't go too crazy in depth detail on specifics on doing the maintenance on your cars, but I figured I'd give you guys just a little piece of what you guys should be looking over. I hope it's beneficial, and I hope it helps you out in the long run. At the end of the day, we're just trying to grow and make everybody as fast as we can. So I'll leave you guys with a question for the night. What is it that you like to do before to get prepared for a race on race day? But that's all I got for you guys for tonight. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know every time I upload a new video. You guys have an awesome night. I'll talk to you later. Peace.